testimonio de las historias de nuestra vida.
And we are very excited today to hear the story of Myra Bolin.
Y estamos muy contentos de conocer la historia de Myra Bolin.
Say that if you would offer that you would like to tell your story, then please speak to me or Pastor Alicia.
Si le interesa.
It's okay, it happens all the time.
I'm sorry.
Mute it for a moment. Thank you. Perfect. Up a little closer, right in the center seems to be best. Yeah. That's okay. That's okay. I don't remember.
Ella dice que si le interesa a alguien contar su historia, que le avisa a ella o a la pastora Alicia, por favor.
And now we open up to hear the story of Myra.
Y ahora la historia de Myra.
Well, as you well know by now, my name is Myra Bolin, and I am richly blessed to have grown up in a Christian home. And all my life, it seems as though the ups and downs, the valleys, God is with me. He has always been with me. So I'll start out at the very beginning. I was born on a farm in Hazelwood, Minnesota in 1928.
Ok, dice que ya saben, me llamo Myra y me siento muy bendecida de haber criado en un hogar cristiano. Y toda mi vida Dios ha estado conmigo. Y voy a empezar con el comienzo de mi historia. Nací en un campo en Hazelwood, Minnesota, en 1928.
Hazelwood is a wide spot on the road, but we did live close to Northfield, Minnesota, about 10 miles. That's where we went in to do our shopping and whatever we needed to do. Northfield, as a lot of you know, is the home of St. Olaf College. It's also known as the notorious Jesse James raid on the First National Bank in Northfield, Minnesota, back in the 1800s.
Okay, so, a ver, ¿dónde empezaste? O sea, Hazelwood es un pueblito chiquitito, pero está unos 10 millas de una ciudad más grande y se conoce por ser de donde es el College, St. Olaf College, una universidad. También se conoce por el ínfamo y notorio Jesse James, que fue el primer robo que hizo en un banco. No sé si saben quién es Jesse James, pero fue el primer banco que él robó en 1800 tanto. Y todavía celebran eso, que ellos lo ganaron. Vencieron a Jesse James en ese pueblito y están muy orgullosos de eso.
Did I say all that?
Well, this says it.
Actually, just as a sidebar, Jesse James Days, the defeat of Jesse James Days is still being celebrated in Northfield every fall. But now we'll go on to about the first 16 years of my life were really quite mundane. My sister and I walked to school. She was 5 years younger than me, and we went to a small country, one-room country school with one teacher and grades 1 through 8.
Dice que los primeros 16 años de su vida eran muy mundane. Tranquilos, o sea, nada, ninguna novedad. Y su hermana, quien tenía 5 años menos que ella, y las dos siempre caminaban a la escuela, una escuela de un salón, solo un salón para toda la escuela, para los primero a octavo años de la escuela, y dice que era como Little House on the Prairie. Little House on the Prairie es un programa de televisión popular aquí, y es como ese tipo de muy tranquilo. ¿Ah? Ya, tipo rancho, y muy tranquilo, una vida muy sana.
During the summertime, I worked on the farm. I was a tomboy, and I loved working on the farm, working with machinery and livestock, horses, and I even, as time went on, I learned to cultivate corn with a cultivator and a team of horses.
Okay. Ella dice que le encanta. Ella vivía en un campo y ella trabajaba el campo. Ella se sentía como, no sé cómo decirse, tomboy. Es una mujer que le gusta hacer las cosas de hombre, pero es mujer igual. Y, y le encantaba trabajar el campo, trabajaba con los animales, el ganado, los fields, los campos. Hacía de todo lo que hacían los hombres en esos tiempos.
Bought an Alice Chalmers tractor, I was in heaven. I loved to drive that tractor.
Y cuando su papá se compró un tractor, ella estaba fascinada y ella lo manejaba con mucho gusto.
We attended church and Sunday school every Sunday, and I was confirmed when I was 13. And at that time, I just knew I was a child of God. When I received my first communion, something happened to me, and I promised then that I would try to live a godly life.
Ella dice que todos los años de su niñez iban al culto los domingos y a la escuela dominical, y ella se confirmó, no sé si decía también, cuando tenía 13 años, y cuando tomó su primera comunión, dice que ella sabía que era hija de Dios y que ella le hizo una promesa a Dios que viviría una vida, I forget how you say godly life, santa, viviría una vida santa y para Dios.
After I finished 8th grade, of course, I went to Northfield to attend high school. And in finishing up my junior year in high school, my father had a very serious accident. He was helping his neighbor with dynamite, blasting big rocks in the field, and literally a dynamite cap went off in his face.
Oh my God. Okay, después de terminar el octavo año, ella fue a la prepa, asistió a la prepa, y cuando estaba terminando su penúltimo año en la escuela, su papá tuvo un accidente muy serio, y estaba ayudando con dinamita. Dynamite es dinamita. Dinamita. Estaban haciendo algo en el campo con dinamita y literalmente uno de las dinamitas explotaron en su cara.
We stayed on the farm another year, and my mother and I managed to milk the cows and do minimum farm work, and then we had neighbors that planted our crops for us.
Se quedaron en el campo y ella y su mamá trabajaban en el campo, y ellos, no sé, ¿cómo se dice milk the cows? Lactaron de las vacas, okay, y los ordeñaban las vacas, y sus vecinos les plantaron los crops, las cosechas, ajá. y hicieron lo mínimo, pero hicieron sobrevivir el campo.
So my senior year in high school was rather hectic because I was trying to help at home and then keep up on my schoolwork and go to high school. And
Era un poco difícil su último año del high school porque estaba tratando de hacer sus tareas y mantenerse a fecha en la escuela, pero a la misma vez estaba trabajando el campo con su mamá.
there were times when I would miss the school bus. I just couldn't get ready in time. And some of those drives, I went ahead and drove into Northfield and went to high school. Some of those drives back and forth to high school, I prayed. I said, Lord, what am I going to do with my life? I knew I wasn't going to be able to go to college.
So, ella dice que a veces perdía el bus porque, al colegio porque no se podía. Y entonces ella llevó su carro a la escuela y en esas manejadas, mientras ella oraba a Dios, Dios, ¿qué voy a hacer con mi vida? ¿Qué puedo hacer con mi vida?
So,
Oh, I didn't hear her say that. Okay, y sabía que no iba a ser posible que fuera a la universidad.
okay. I don't understand what you're saying, but
What you
that's
said, and what you have here.
actually, when I finished high school, I was offered a job at the First National Bank in Northfield, Minnesota. No Jesse James then. And I took the job and then drove back and forth to the farm. And about that time, my parents decided to have an auction and go ahead and sell the livestock and the machinery, and the farm, of course.
So ella dice que le ofrecieron un trabajo en ese mismo banco que lo robó Jesse James y en su último año del colegio. Y entonces sus papás decidieron tener un remate y vender el campo. Oh, no, el campo, sold the farm, yeah. Sí, vender el campo y todo el, ¿cómo se dice? Livestock. El ganado. Y todo el ganado. Y la maquinaria. Y se fueron porque vivían en el campo, entonces se fueron a vivir en un pueblo, o sea, no una ciudad, pero no un pueblo un poquito más grande. O sea, un pueblo.
After they sold the farm, then my folks went ahead and moved to Northfield. So my prayers were answered at that time. I could work at the bank and live at home again.
So, ella dice que cuando vendieron el campo y se fueron a vivir a este pueblo, ¿cómo se llama el pueblo? What's the name of the town?
Northfield?
Northfield, que ella se sintió como si Dios hubiera contestado sus oraciones porque ahora pudo vivir en el pueblo cerca del trabajo y tener una vida más o menos normal. Y podía vivir en casa también.
There were three banks in the small town of Northfield, and they decided to join forces and form classes for the employees to go to. And the first class was negotiable instruments, and for some reason or another, I was one of them that was picked to go to that class. Boring.
Was that in the university or no?
No, it was just a class called Negotiable Instruments.
Okay, wow, okay. So dice que había 3 bancos en ese pueblito y de Northfield y decidieron la administración hacer una clase para los empleados, algunos de empleados, y la escogieron a ella y para tomar una clase que se llamaba instrumentos negociables. Y ella no sabe cómo, pero la clase fue, no sé cómo la eligieron a ella, pero la clase fue muy aburrida, pero ahí estaba. So I got to the part where you took the class and you were bored.
I was bored. Yes, I was. However,
Sin embargo,
about 3 weeks into the class, a young man came in that worked at a farmer's bank in another small town called Castle Rock. And he wondered if it was too late for him to join the class. And they said, no, that would be fine. So he sat down and he introduced himself as, his name was Gail Bolin. Suddenly the class wasn't quite as boring as I thought it was going to be.
después de 3 semanas en esa clase, de repente llegó un joven de otro banco, de otro pueblito, y él quería tomar la clase y quería saber si pudiera tomarlo y dijeron que sí. Y de repente ya la clase no estaba tan aburrida. Y el hombre se llamaba Gail Bolin, ella ahora se llama Myra Bolin, es sabido.
Where was I?
You got
I
to
was
the class
listening.
wasn't so boring anymore.
Yeah, where are we?
We dated. Next page. Oh, here. We dated.
We became acquainted and dated, and decided we did love each other, and a year and a half later we were married. That's a good
So,
place.
entonces empezaron a conocerse un poco y luego empezaron a salir y después de 1 año y medio decidieron que sí se querían y se casaron después de 1 año y medio.
I will back up and say that one evening Gail came to the house to pick me up to go to the class, and he said, you know, the Northfield High School basketball team is having a tournament game tonight. They've done very well, and would you like to go? And I said, sure. We skipped class and went to the basketball game.
Was that the first date?
Pardon me?
Was that your first date? Or
No.
that was, were you already going out?
That was, I kind of backed up to say that. Yes, we had already, yes, we were already been dating.
Okay, so una noche después que estaban ya saliendo, una noche él le dijo que hay un partido de básquetbol en la escuela, en la prepa, y quería saber si ella quisiera ir con él. Y ella dijo que sí, y entonces perdieron la clase para asistir al partido de básquetbol.
And it seems as though the other people that were going to the class, the boring class in those negotiable instruments, decided that that might be a nice game to go to. So
So everybody went.
they came, well, yes, we were sitting in the auditorium, and guess who came in and sat right in front of us?
Teacher. Ella dice que los otros estudiantes de esa clase aburrida decidieron que esa idea fue muy buena y que iban a ir al partido de básquetbol con ellos. Y ella dice, adivine quién se sentó justo enfrente de ellos. Pero no dijo quién, dijo, adivine nomás.
So after Gail and I were married, we lived in Northfield, and I could walk to my work, and he could drive to the bank that he worked at. And we did that for about a year, and then I quit my job, and we moved to Castle Rock. And at that time, we had our first baby, a baby boy named Richard. And maybe some of you have seen Richard Bolin going up and down the aisles doing a little ushering at church.
Ella dice que vivieron cerca de su trabajo y ella pudo caminar al trabajo y su esposo manejar. Trabajaron en diferentes bancos y después de 1 año ella renunció su trabajo y se cambiaron a Castle Rock, otro pueblito cerquita, y nacieron su primer bebé que se llama Richard, y Richard es el que usher. Uno de esos hombres que acompaña a las personas a sus asientos. ¿Acolito? es un acólito de esta iglesia y si quizás lo conocerás, dice. Back to the cold climate of Minnesota.
That's right. We lived in Castle Rock, and it was winter time, cold weather time, February. Gail decided, Gail came home one day and he said, we should go to California. I think I could probably get a job out there. And I said, you mean move to California? Well, it so happens that Gail was 7 years older than me, and he had been to California and had seen the palm trees and the lovely weather, and kind of convinced that maybe we should make the move to California, which we did.
So, ella dice que en el clima de Minnesota es terriblemente frío, hace frío, un frío increíble. Y durante un invierno muy frío, su esposo Gail le dijo una vez, podríamos ir a cambiarnos a California, y está muy bonito, el clima muy lindo. Y él sabía de las palmeras y el sol y todo eso. Y él, como tenía 7 años más de ella, ya había visitado California una vez antes, y él conocía un poco, y él decidió que sí podía conseguir un trabajo en California, que deberían cambiarse, y así fue. Se vinieron a vivir aquí. When did you come? What year was that?
We came out to California in 1951.
En 1951 se cambiaron a California.
We
20 minutes left, so about 10 minutes each, so just to make sure.
Okay.
20 minutes total left.
Okay, we'll hurry along. I lived a long life, so you know I have a lot to say.
Ella vivió muchos años, así que tiene mucho que contar.
Actually, we came to California, drove out in the wintertime, and it took us quite a while to get here. We had to make stops along the way, snowstorms especially. We settled, we got to San Diego. Gail got a job at Consolidated, or Conbeer, maybe it's called now. And we lived 2 weeks in a motel in Pacific Beach, looking for a place to rent.
Okay. Demoraron un poco porque tuvieron que, demoraron un poco de tiempo llegar aquí porque tuvieron que venir manejando, pero cuando llegaron, él consiguió, lo contrataron en una compañía Conbeer.
I think it was called Conbeer, Consolidated Conbeer, I think it's called now. But
Okay, una compañía que se llama Conbeer, y ahora se llama Consolidated Conbeer, y tuvieron que vivir en un hotel en Pacific Beach por 2 semanas.
we did find a small place near North Park to rent. We moved there, and Gil went to work, and Dick and I sat in the house, and suddenly I got so lonesome and so homesick, and I said, what have I gotten myself into?
So, ellos se compraron o rentaron, no sé cuál, una casita en North Park, que es un pueblo de San Diego, y ella sola en la casa con su hijo, de repente se sintió muy triste y echaba de menos su familia y Minnesota, y pensó, ¿qué he hecho? ¿Qué voy a hacer ahora? Estoy aquí solita.
Okay, I'm going to skip over a little bit of this, I think. We started going to Our Savior's Lutheran Church in North Park, and that helped. It made my day to find a place where they welcomed us and we enjoyed our church.
Empezaron a asistir a una iglesia que se llama Nuestro Salvador en North Park, y con eso ella se empezó a acostumbrarse aquí un poco más. Y I finished what you said. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, 2 years later, we had our daughter, Diane. And at that time, that little house became suddenly very crowded. So we were fortunate to find a house in Chula Vista to buy. And we moved to Chula Vista in 1952 when Diane was about 3 months old.
Okay, so 2 años después nació su hija Diane y esa casita en North Park se puso muy chica para toda la familia, para su familia. Entonces se encontraron una casa en Chula Vista, la compraron y se cambiaron aquí en 1952.
After moving to Chula Vista, I thought we'd moved into heaven. I had a 2-bedroom house and I had a large backyard that was fenced in. About that time, we heard rumors that there was going to be a Lutheran church starting in Chula Vista. And sure enough, Pastor and Mrs. Jacobson came to visit us one evening and invited us to come to the new church. St. Mark's Lutheran Church became I lost my place.
It became your home church, or?
St. Mark's Lutheran Church became a church in 1954.
Oh, okay. Okay, so ella dice que, let's see, what did you say?
I skipped over some.
It's okay. Que le encantó su casa, porque tenía patio grande para los niños y todo, y supieron que iban a construir una iglesia aquí, y un pastor que se llamaba Pastor Jacobson y su esposa los visitaron en su casa y los invitaron a esta iglesia que se fundó en 1954.
What a blessing to have a church to go to, and I taught Sunday school to little children, and I loved every minute of it. It was wonderful.
Qué bendición, dice, tener una iglesia, una familia, y ella enseñaba a los niños pequeños en la escuela dominical, y ella se sentía muy bien, empezaba a sentirse mucho mejor cómoda aquí.
Then a surprise, we had a baby boy, another boy named Robert. And by that time we knew we might have to find a little larger house, at least something with 3 bedrooms. But I guess Chris Lewis wasn't around at that time. We couldn't find anything we could afford, so we decided we liked where we were staying, and we built onto our house. And that house on Oak Lawn Avenue is where I'm still living today.
They want you to tell your whole story, and then I'm going to translate at the end.
Oh, all right.
Que ella va a terminar su historia y luego yo voy a traducirlo, o sea, brevemente lo que dijo ella, porque se nos está acabando el tiempo.
The children, of course, grew up. They went to Mueller School, Chula Vista Junior High, Chula Vista High School. And when our youngest, Robert, was in junior high, I went to Sears and applied for a job, part-time job, Christmas help.
Is that the end of the story? Keep going.
Oh, all right. Let's see, where we go. I worked during the holidays and during
let's see. I think you're on this page.
I think I am too. Anyway, they asked me if I wanted to stay on and be a steady or be a regular and work with Doug. Doug happened to be a Sears employee, and I worked at Sears for 15 years. When she asked me if I wanted to work, I said yes, but I would have to have this first Tuesday of the month off each month. And she looked at me kind of strange, and I said, well, I want to attend my altar committee Christmas monthly meeting. And so what a blessing. I could work at the bank, and I thought I had this down. Just a minute. We retired about that time. I had been working 16 years, and my husband, Gil, and I enjoyed retirement. We traveled a little bit. We did a lot of gardening, and we square danced, but most of all, we were members of St. Mark's Lutheran Church and enjoyed it. At that time, Gail, in the year 2000, Gail passed away very suddenly with a heart attack. So I was alone, and I'm still alone. However, I am blessed with a family that comes to see me, helps me, and makes life very comfortable. Thank you, family. Unfortunately, in 2016, our daughter Diane lost her 4-year battle with cancer. That was probably one of the hardest times in my life, to lose my only daughter and best friend. I happened to be with her the night she passed away. One of the last things she said to me was, "Dad and I will be waiting for you, Mom." So you see, I have family waiting for me, family and friends waiting for me. I found a short verse. The last verse of Psalm 37:27 says, wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. Yea, wait for the Lord. I'm waiting. I don't know how long that wait will be, but I am thankful. I'm so thankful for every day, every good day that I have. I'm thankful to be a member of St. Mark's Church family. I thank Carol for helping me this morning. And most of all, I thank all of you for listening to my life story. Amen.
Amen. Ella dice que trabajó en Sears por 15 años y después se jubiló su esposo y se divertieron mucho, tomaron clases de baile, vivían una vida muy bonita, tranquila, y en el año 2000 su esposo murió de repente de un infarto y entonces estaba sola y ha estado sola desde entonces, pero y todos sus hijos ya se habían crecido y salieron de la casa, tenían sus propias familias. Y dice, pero de todos modos ella se siente muy bendecida de tener a su familia para ayudarla siempre. Desafortunadamente dice que en 2016 I don't know if I can say this. I don't know if I can say it. Su hija falleció de cáncer. Y eso fue muy difícil para ella. La cosa más difícil que ha sufrido, perder su hija y mejor amiga. Sorry. Pero su hija le dijo antes de fallecerse, le dijo, mi papi y yo vamos a estar esperándote en el cielo. Y ella no sabe cuánto tiempo va a ser, pero se siente súper bendecida y thankful es grata. Agradecida de tener a su familia y ser parte de esta familia de St. Mark's. Y muchas gracias para escuchar su historia. Y la última cosa que quería leer era el verso de Salmo 27. que dice, wait for the Lord, be strong. Espera al Señor, sea fuerte y let your heart take courage. Deja que su corazón sea valiente. Toma fuerza de su corazón. Yea, wait for the Lord. Sí, espera en el Señor.
We want to thank you all for coming. We did not leave enough time for Spanish.